everyone, and welcome. And I wonder if any one of you have your Facebook tab open on your computers. You can try and see that because then we will hear a double sound.
I can see if I can unmute myself. Wait.
Yeah, it's okay too. That happens all the time. It has happened to me many times as well. So welcome so much to tonight's expert panel. You are my amazing authors for the book The Rise. We have, this book, it's filled to the brim with strong powerhouse women that are sharing their stories about how to change the world, more or less. So The Rise are different stories of fierce, fearless, and unapologetic women being their own guiding stars. And I just love that you are going to be able to be here with me tonight. And we're going to have a lovely chat about the book, about who you are. And for the ones that haven't seen the last episodes we had this week, remember to check our social media channels to see the other interviews. And the book is going to be launched on Friday next week. So it's the 28th of May. And you're going to be able to buy it through our channels because we're going to send you a link. Perfect. So I'm going to start by welcoming my beautiful authors, and I'm going to read a bit about them so that you know who they are. And I am going to find it here. So we're going to start with Nicolette. Nicolette Halliday is the founder of Inspired Hearts Publishing, an independently owned publishing house focused on multi-author books created to share the unconventional and heartfelt stories of entrepreneurs, giving business owners a platform to tell their stories, own their talents, and leverage their personal story to grow their business. She started her entrepreneurial journey by launching a virtual assistant agency where she learned the fundamentals of online businesses. Most days you can find her elbow deep in emails, content creation, and business systems, collaborating behind the scenes to create outstanding customer experiences, supporting the dreams of small business owners, one big vision and 1,000 details at a time, all while wrangling her 2 young daughters, keeping tabs on and encouraging her amazingly responsible teenager and dreaming into her best life. I love that, Nikki, and welcome, Nicolette. We are just so happy to have you here.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here.
Thank you. And then I am going to continue with Katie. Katie Edwards Corbin is the CEO of the Beyond Institute. And I think someone is using their computer at the back, so I'm hearing something. I'm going to say it again. Okay. Katie Edwards Corbin is the CEO of the Beyond Institute and the Center of Bliss. Katie is a visionary. She guides individuals, groups, and businesses to reach their big vision. Digging deep into the heart of the company, Katie has the ability to evoke authentic leadership and management skills to pioneer the way to increase profits and impact. Her brain is naturally drawn to technology, marketing, social media, and the psychology of advertising. Those who seek her out are often industry leaders, go-to experts, and seasoned entrepreneurs who seek the highest level of business mastery. She resides in Greenville, South Carolina, with her husband and 2 children. She may or may not be one self-help book away from opening a bookstore in her home. That's amazing, and I totally relate.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
Thank you. And then we have Colleen. Colleen Regan Noon is the founder of Wise Women Book Collective. She empowers women to share their wisdom and expand their impact by becoming best-selling authors. Colleen publishes multi-author books under her own publishing name and offers publishing services to other female-owned publishers and authors. Colleen is an international best-selling author 5 times over and has helped over 35 people become best-selling authors. Before founding her company, Colleen was an educator working with young children and their parents. She focused on teaching parents about birth, trauma recovery, and parenting while in substance abuse recovery. She continues to be an advocate for parents in substance abuse recovery and for the spouses of those in recovery. Colleen is a mother of 2 and considers New York, Massachusetts, and Florida all home. She received her BA at Rollins College in Winter Park, Florida, and her master's in education at Lesley University in Cambridge, MA. And I'm not sure what the MA is.
Massachusetts.
Okay, perfect. Good for me to know. So welcome. Welcome. I'm so happy to have you here.
Thank you. And I need to update my biography because I think after my 2 book launches, I'm up to 70 people I've helped become best-selling authors. So better update that.
That's amazing. I love that. Then we are going to continue, and we have Benjamas Pluma is a serial entrepreneur, social media strategist, and visionary. She runs multiple business programs and projects for female entrepreneurs that teach women how to go from 0 to a 6-figure business from scratch, with no money, no network, and no sales or marketing skills. She comes from very poor, humble beginnings and moved to Sweden with her mother and father at the age of 4. She became a young mother herself at the age of 25 and started her business after giving birth to her second child at the age of 28 while building a multiple 6-figure business. Benjamas Pluma has a vision that every household in the world has a financially free woman to look up to, no matter what background she has or family trauma she's gone through. Her mission is to reach as many women as she can with the help of digitalization, spreading a future optimistic message during her lifetime. So welcome. We are so happy to have you here. So I hope you are having a marvelous evening or day, depending on where you are in the world. And I'm going to ask my beautiful authors some questions. And I'm going to take them, everyone in order. So let's see here. I want you to tell us a little bit about yourself and what experience you share in the book. And first of all, I want to ask that to Nicolette. And I'm going to press here so that you are unmuted.
Yeah, hi, thank you. For those of you who don't know, I also help Eleanor and the House of Sovereignty, publishing House of Sovereignty, with some of the project management and back end of the book. And after doing a few Swedish books, helping her with those, I really was called to be able to participate in this book. And so I was very excited for the opportunity. And this is my first time contributing to a multi-author book. And what I shared is really the times in my life that I have tapped into my ability to co-create with the universe and bring about big things in my life, accomplish the dreams that are in my mind's eye. And I kind of talk a little bit about different times that I've gone about doing that.
You are such an inspiration, and I have loved to see the beginning of the journey you're on. I mean, you are going to you're going to the stars and beyond. So we are so thrilled about that, and I'm so happy to have your story in this book. It's gonna help so many people. So thank you.
Thank you. It was amazing writing it. And the amazing thing about writing your story is a lot of times it comes up for the things that you need to remember in this moment. And that very much rang true for me with this experience, reconnecting with that powerful part of myself and remembering my ability to co-create.
Yeah, definitely. So, and for those of you that are going to follow us, look at Nicolette's posts. She shares so many amazing posts about her thoughts, her ideas, everything that everything from ordinary life. And so just follow her. You're gonna love it.
Thank you.
And then we have Katie.
me.
How about you? Tell us a little bit about yourself and the experience you are sharing in the book.
Sure. So, first of all, I don't really consider myself much of a storyteller. So, writing the book was really interesting for me to go back and just, reflect a little bit on like where I came from and where I am now. So it was a journey for me to write it in itself. One of the main factors that I wrote a lot in the book is kind of like how I became unapologetic for myself, right? I've always been kind of like a forerunner. I've always been a visionary, so I could see things before they come into the third dimensional reality. So as a kid, that was always kind of weird, right? I was always kind of the different kid. I didn't really fit in necessarily, or maybe I tried to, but I never really felt, fitting in. I went to acupuncture school at 20. I had no idea anything about acupuncture. I drove across the United States on a completely kind of a whim. I just got that drop in and I just followed it. So a lot of what I wrote about was really, how I learned to navigate that in my own life, because I think we all get these drop-ins, all these intuitive hits in our lifetime, and do we follow them or not? So that's always like my guiding star. And I've learned the hard way a lot of times too, as many of us I know have, not doing that or not really listening to that intuition. And I feel like the more you do it, the louder it gets and the more you recognize it. So even as a kid, I would recognize it and kind of like brush it off, like, oh, where did that come from? Or, I must be dreaming, or, this is kind of weird that this comes in. So really, I learned that at a very early age, especially when I was actually sick as a kid. That's how I got into health and wellness, and eventually taught people how to build businesses in the health and wellness space. So really, I asked the question when I was young, where Western medicine is just saying, hey, you're just going to have to live with this for the rest of your life. And I just asked the question, there has to be something better than this. So that's really me asking the questions really has led me into a completely different paradigm in my life. And I think it's accessible to everybody. So really, I just use my own story to, inspire others to do that too as well.
Yeah, and I can totally relate. I mean, we are so many that hasn't been following our intuition, and it has led to a complete disaster. I mean, I love that you're writing about that, because if people are, when they realize that they actually have all the answers within, that they can be tapping into those from anywhere. That is going to be such a beautiful tool for them. So thank you for sharing that into your story.
Yes.
And I'm so happy to have you in the project as well.
Yes, thank you.
Then we're going to continue with Benjamas. How about you?
Oh, hi everybody. Yes, in my chapter, Impact and Income Mastery, I share how I went from being a solopreneur to an entrepreneur. I shared a story where I had this big event for 200 women, because I love to empower women and everything. And on that time, I didn't know anything about systemization, Facebook ads, SEO. I didn't know anything about it, and was relying on word of mouth, and it almost made me bankrupt. So I talk about that, how you build systems and create a business so you don't need to do everything yourself on social media and in your business. So, and I talk about how you systems and routines. It can sound very boring to us creatives, but I'm just talking as a what do you say it in English? To see it like as a walk-in closet is very, you can make it very sexy, very nice, and everything. Yeah. So thank you, this opportunity and all the coaching and everything you had in the group, in the House of Sovereignty. This is my first book. So all the authors in the group, in the community have helped me a lot. So I'm very, very thankful for that.
And I'm so happy that you're sharing that as well. And I mean, those tools are important because we have so many entrepreneurs also in our community and in the groups, in the book as well. So, and by sharing, I mean, a hard time in our history of our business and how it has led us to be successful. And it's also a guiding story. So that is, I really appreciate that story as well. So thank you.
Thank you.
And now we have Colleen. Welcome.
Hi. So I thought I was called to write about something in particular in this book. And I started writing and something just took over and I ended up writing something entirely different that it was really transformative for me. And I hope when it goes out to other people, it's transformative to them. And because I don't know, I felt like I was like, unapologetic. I'm like, I'm not unapologetic and I'm going to try to force myself to be unapologetic. And what I ended up started writing was very much how I have been. And so it was just this shift for me in my brain of it didn't necessarily look the way I thought it should look. And yet I had done it in such an interesting way. And it like really woke me up to that. And so it's been so fun to be in this book just because of like that it kind of caught me by surprise because I was like, oh, I know what I'm going to write about. And this is important. And it was just something else took over and guided me to exactly what I needed to write, which was a really fun experience for me. I love writing and I have a particular topic that I seem to write about in a lot of books. And I was like, I don't think there's another way I could write about this. And I did. And like, I don't know. So it was just, this book was definitely divinely called to me. And then this story was just like downloaded and put out. And I'm just so like grateful for this experience because it brought me such great transformation. And I just hope it does the same for others.
I love that. And that's so cool because it's just as you say, the stories come to you when you have decided to write a book in a chapter in a book like this. It's the stories come to you and there's this shift in yourself after you have written and after you have published something. That's amazing. So that's why I often call it like it's a speed healing, speed transformation when you actually write a book like this. So that's cool. So I'm really happy that you decided to write that and that you wrote it that way as well. So yay, it's going to be transformative for so many people.
I hope so.
Yeah, I'm sure it will. So thank you so much. The next question is, what message or inspiration do you want people to take away from reading your story? And then we go to Nicolette.
Yeah, so I think for me, the message of my story is about how the remembering and the forgetting, right? There's times where we forget how powerful we are to co-create, to do the hard things, to persevere. And then there's times where we remember, and that's a natural part of the cycle for me. I don't know if it is for other people, but I think it's important to really embrace that and find the joy in the remembering, and just let that empower your experience.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And I couldn't agree more. I mean, the remembering who you are and remembering your power. I mean,
Yeah.
that's big.
Yeah.
Realizing how powerful you are.
Yeah.
And I wish
and that it's okay to have a time where you forget. And then when you remember, it's like you have always been there, you know?
Yeah. Like you have never changed. It is just about that moment. I love it. Thank you so much. And how about Katie?
Yeah, so I think the biggest takeaway I would like people to get would be just to remember that you're your own guide, right? And even external of spiritual gurus, of people in authority, you really are your own guide, and we actually hear the guidance, or people can see it depending on really where we get it. That's really personal responsibility, and we don't need to, but we have the ability to always tap into that and then ask the question, where is the possibility lie? Because I think people get so bogged down in life thinking that it has to look a certain way, or I have to be a certain way, and we get really bogged down with all these indoctrinations and these things that we think that we should do or shouldn't do, or all projections and looking for external validation on them. But really, we're our own guide, and there's always a way. And once we learn to empower and tap into that, we know the way, even if the way is not the paved path, it's not the highway. It's a nature trail along the highway. And just because everybody's taking the highway, you don't have to do that. So I think just, tapping back into that own internal self and trusting it too, right? Because that's sometimes the hardest thing for people, is actually to fall back and lean into trust.
There's really a red thread in your two chapters between Nicolette's and Katie's in that way. And I love that because the stories always relate, even if you don't think they are supposed to, when there are different authors and they don't know about the stories, they haven't spoken about them. There's always this red thread. There's always this connection that makes the books so powerful, because they show different facets of the same diamond. So I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Yes.
Benjamas.
The transformation I stand for you as a reader to take from my book is to really duplicate yourself. And also what came to me when I wrote the chapter is like, we're not here, ladies, we're not here to just build a business. We're here to build a movement. And I want to, bring that forward, that with the power of social media and all the tools we have today, we're here to build a movement, a message, and go out there and do our thing. So to duplicate yourself and to build teams and to build more structure, especially for us who are creatives, because we are so creative and we are visionaries. And I have learned that the hard way. I have ADHD myself. But I was forced to learn how to structure and how to duplicate myself so I can spread my message. So the chapter is going through hell and heaven and everything in between. But that is the transformation, to duplicate yourself and how to do it.
And that is also why I do these books, why I publish them, because I want to leave this legacy to the world. all the tools we have, all the things we have learned from our past, everything, all the wounds, all the struggles, and all the victories. That it was an interesting thing I heard from a man about a decade ago, and he said to me that you can never really be successful as an entrepreneur until you have been bankrupt.
So true. I must say, it's so true. You must be near the bankruptcy. Yeah.
Because otherwise you will never have learned all the tools from that experience that you're going to bring forth into the expansion and the victory and the success of a company. So I always remember those words, and I think that is something that really comes through in your chapter as well. I mean, here it is, like either it goes to hell or
exactly. Word. That is word. Thank you, Eleanor, for filling that in.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for
We need
sharing.
to talk about that in our podcast. It's gonna be so fun. Yeah.
That's gonna be super. Thank you. Colleen.
Hello. So, my chapter, what I'm really hoping people get from it is I think we tend to view ourselves from the societal lens, and we view our lives from the societal lens. And we're so focused on measuring our lives and ourselves based on this not real expectation. Like, it's just, and I apologize if my connection's poor. I don't know what's going on this side. But
completely okay.
Yeah. Okay. So I just, that's what I hope people get, is they read my chapter and they see that they don't need to be judging themselves from this outside worldview, and they don't need to be judging their lives from this outside worldview and people from this outside worldview, and that we can go into ourselves and feel what's right for us, what feels good in our body, and start making choices and actions and different decisions based upon that, instead of based upon like, oh gosh, what's my neighbor going to think if I make this choice, and what's my mom going to think if I make that choice, and based on society's expectations, this doesn't look right, so it must not be right. And so I hope my chapter is a shift for people, that your own internal barometer is such a better measure of how things should look than society's expectations.
I love that. I stand by those words, each and every one of them. So thank you. I mean, again, that's such an important message. And for those of you that do listen in, and you can hear that there's something in the connection. I mean, we are actually a multi-author book and a multi-author company and a global company. And we have authors all over the world. So isn't it magical that we can actually do this? That we're sitting in these different time zones and we are cooperating, that we are creating this legacy. I mean, I don't care if there's a bad connection sometimes. I mean, we are doing it.
Yes. Yeah, it's amazing.
It's amazing. And as one of our coaches and mentors and friends, she shared today that earlier, women weren't even allowed to have own publishing companies. She shared that today. One of our friends, Adriana Alvarez, and that's so cool as well. I mean, here we are. There are so many of us that are owning publishing houses, and we are publishing these amazing books, and we are just changing the world one person at a time. I am so happy. I mean, wow. Can you feel the power in that? And I mean, all our clients and everyone that's going to read our chapters. Wow. It's so inspiring. It's so inspiring. So yeah, thank you so much. We're going to continue with the question, what inspired you to want to become an author? And we'll continue with Nicolette.
Well, you did, Eleanor. Yeah, like I feel like you and several other ladies that I've seen stepping into their power and sharing their story. Colleen, other women who are just really standing in their power and being so vulnerable and open and sharing, has inspired me to want to, step up to the plate and share a little bit of my journey too. And I think that there's just something to say for that collective in the community, right? And how we can uplift each other, support each other, inspire each other in such a meaningful way. And like you said, from across the globe, here we are having a conversation. We would never have this opportunity, 20 years ago, even maybe 10 years ago, to be here in all of these different time zones. And yet we are here, we're, collaborating on this project. And so that was a big inspiration for me. And I think it continues to be like an inspiration for me to create that opportunity for someone else that maybe sees that in me. So
you will, you definitely will. And that's also so cool because we are all very successful entrepreneurs.
Mhm.
And to be the ones showing other people how it can be done. We are owning our shit. That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
We are owning our past. We are owning our nows. We are owning our present, our future, everything. And we are just deciding on what we want to create, and we're doing it.
Yeah.
So,
And I think it gives other people permission, like seeing you all do it,
exactly.
and seeing what has happened with you and the success you've had from doing that, and just the cathartic, you've talked a lot about the healing process. And I think it lends other people, like it gives them like, hey, it's like a pathway, like, here, I want to invite you in and experience this opportunity to really go deep and be vulnerable and authentic and share your story. And it really is an opportunity to connect with people on a more personal level.
And that is what is needed in the society today.
Yeah.
So thank you. Thank you for really telling it as it is. So thank you. And Katie, how about you? What inspired you to want to become an author? Let me see if I can unmute you. No? I wonder if you are muted. Let me see here again. You have to do the unmuting.
There. Sorry.
There you go.
So I think, so I was in another book, I think with you, Eleanor, last year. And I think I really always wanted to write, even though I'm not a big writer. In general, like I always wanted to publish something externally so it could really just get out in the world and help other people, because I really do, even though I don't consider myself a storyteller, I feel like every time people hear stories of people that have gone a different route, it gives them permission to do the same. So I just think that every time we tell the stories of even success and failure, it makes people believe that, oh, it's not just this, uphill, being an entrepreneur is not just this, glorious climb into the top. It's actually sometimes really rocky, and we actually can learn from each other when we get that out in the open, that we do make mistakes, and we, there's things, learning curves that we go through. And I think it just gives people more permission to just keep going, right? And just to keep following that, that star or that guiding light or whatever, our mission in life. So that's really what made me want to even write.
And I love that, because that is how it is. I mean, if you see how other people have created their lives, I mean, we are co-creators of our reality, and both the ups and downs, and how we have been living through them. That's how it's done. So yeah, thank you. And Benjamas, what inspired you?
Yes, you inspired me to write this chapter and to actually come out and be an author, publicly. And And I can say that my self-image, I saw myself as a writer much earlier than I saw myself as an entrepreneur. Because I love to write. I've always written. I love text, and my customers, they know, I write the offers and the text and different texts and everything. But you actually, Eleanor, you were the one that pushed me out to do this, because sometimes when you take something for granted, you just delay it, but it was early on, a writer. But now, yes, we are here, and this is just the start. So you have started something, girl.
And I love to be that. I love to be that, igniting those powerhouses. I think I even have that as my line on Facebook, that I'm igniting the lighthouses.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love that. Thank you for sharing that. And Colleen, how about you? You have been in so many books as well. What made you decide to be a writer, an author?
So when I was going through probably the hardest time in my life, I realized what helped me the most wasn't the people who were giving advice. It was listening to other people's stories who had also gone through hard times. It didn't even have to be the same type of hard time, but just also going through a hard time and seeing how they moved through it, what choices they made, how they thought differently. And that was so transformational for me to just hear these stories. And then I realized when I started telling my own story, just the healing power in that for myself. So I knew, like, writing, it's healing for me. And then it's also healing for the person who's going to hear it, because they're going to be able to see themselves in bits and pieces and take that out. But my very first kind of go at really writing was I just decided to write almost like a memoir of everything that happened to me, because I just wanted to capture it and remember it. And I just had no idea at the time when I was writing how emotional it would be and therapeutic it would be, and that it would help me process what I had gone through. And so I don't think it's a book I will ever publish. I think it's just for me. But that was really just like my first thing that I wanted to be an author. And then just from writing that, I was like, oh, this is so powerful. It's so, so powerful. And I want to keep doing this. So that's what kept me going and kept me, wanting to be published in book after book.
Oh, I love that. And I love the little cat tail that comes in and out of the picture.
It's like you can stop when you have started.
Yeah. And that's also, for me as well, since I've also I love writing in these kind of books, because I love the feeling of a tribe, of the community, because that gives me I've also shared so many very, very personal moments from my life, from my abusive relationship, my former relationship, where I was when I tried to commit suicide, when I was raped. I was sharing all of these things, and I don't think I could have shared them without that community, with the other women that also dared to share what they have been through. And that is, as you say, and I also shared those moments because I knew that if I dared, then someone else would dare to speak about it to the persons in their community. They don't even have to write a book, but they will find their words to share the story. And that's where the healing starts, in my belief. So thank you so much for sharing this, all of you. We are going to continue, and my team has asked a beautiful question about how did I help guide you through this journey? And we're going to start with Nicolette for that question.
Well, of course, just setting up the framework and really creating the space and inviting in and, bringing in the contributors and just facilitating the process. I think the biggest thing is just holding space and a complete openness to say you are here to be you and authentic and true to you. And I will honor that with everything I have. And that gives people permission to really like put their hearts onto the paper.
That's beautiful. And that is also why I never tell my authors to change anything in their stories, because it's not up to me. They own their story. I really want to honor that. So thank you for saying that.
Thank you.
And Katie, how about you?
Mhm. So I think the biggest thing is just like opening the door, right? And just saying that this is what's going to become you, and you can do anything that you walk through that door. So it's somewhat like just the invitation, right? To write and to do something out of the ordinary to some degree too. For me, I think it was just opening that door and just welcoming in that space whatever really comes through.
Lovely. Thank you so much for sharing that. I love to be a door opener. Benjamas?
Yes, I totally agree with previous speakers. And also, you have created a structure. You have created this online course, the author course that you can feel that you can just follow. And what made all the difference, actually, Eleanor, was reading your chapter. It was very powerful, and I'm like, if she can write that, then I need to just write something, because it was also, it's when you have this, you have one chapter, it is hard to actually choose story. What should I write about? It's so much that's happened in the life, and what part. But to read your example and to also read other stories, I read also Mira's chapter, and this also sisterhood, and to help each other. And I can go out because this is the first time I'm doing this. So when I went out to the community, and I can be vulnerable and say, I have never done this. How do you write your stories? How do I start and everything? And you had this also monthly calls and also check-ins, and now it's weekly calls that you have put in with the team. So also the structure around everything, with the courses that you can go 24/7, and the team that will take our answers and our questions and answer them, but also the other authors that come through with their advice on how to do it and how to finish. Because when you go through this process, you get a deadline. And that's also what makes it happen. To put that deadline. I would have a lot of books by now if I just put a deadline on them, but I didn't. So that is what happens when you go into this author club, this author program. You have a deadline, and you say it in the course. If you miss the deadline, then you miss out, girl. So I needed that. So thank you for that.
That was the kick in your behind that you needed.
Exactly.
Perfect. I'm glad that it helped you. Thank you. Colleen. And I can't hear you. I think you have to unmute yourself again. Let me see. Now, let me see again. It's no,
Okay, can you hear me?
Now I can hear you.
You can hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So you have been such an inspiration in my life. But what's been interesting about you is like it's just the energy field that you've connected with me on, is that I feel like you were able to just tell the exact wavelength I was on, like business wise, and the wavelength I was on personal wise. And you connected to me at that level and like encouraged me to bump it up a little in each, like in my personal and my business. And it's just so, I guess, interesting that that's like, I don't know, you're able to like read the situation and know exactly how to interact and how to inspire me to go higher.
Oh, thank you. And yeah, I do connect energy-wise with my authors so that they will really like boost everything in their life and in their business. So thank you. And I'm so happy that you also can feel it. I love it.
Yes.
Thank you. And we're going to continue. And it says, writing can often be a solitary process. What was your experience working in a more collaborative setting with a mentor? So, how about you, Nikki?
I think that this is like the perfect blend of both, because you have the support of, the Publishing House of Sovereignty, you have your support, Eleanor, and you also get to go back and just like write your own story. So having the like support of the group, like the other contributors, is so big. You don't feel like all of the pressure is on your shoulders, and that you get to share this experience with, the other contributors is really a big, like, just relief, and like makes you feel a lot more confident in the process.
Mm. Oh, that's so true. So, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that. Katie.
I think the biggest thing for me was just the accountability factor, right? So it's like everybody else is counting on me to finish this thing, or I'm just not going to be in the book. So it kind of just like with the deadline that we were talking about, it just helps me to sit down and just have to do it, right? Or I'm going to miss the opportunity to do it. So for me, that was like the biggest thing, just to put it on paper. Here's the deadline, get it done, and it got done.
Mm. I can relate because I'm exactly like that. I need deadlines.
Yes.
and I am sorry to say that I'm one of those that always do it the last day too. So
yes, me as well.
But that's pretty cool also, because these projects, they are not something that's dragging out forever. You can actually, if you do the course, you focus on doing it, you can write it on one night or 2 nights. That's a complete possibility to do. So it doesn't have to like take your whole life to do it, or you have to put down months and months doing it. I mean, it's 2 nights, 2 evenings, 2 days, and then you're done. So thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
Benjamas.
Yes, I think answer that in the last question, but short deadlines. And yeah, you just do a short deadlines, but also to know that everybody's doing it, and just write and get it in. I was also in the middle of hardships and separation and everything, so I went through a very hard time, but I just did it. And it also helped me that you said to write a chapter, it will take you like 3 hours or something. So it was good that you said that it didn't take so long time, so I am also I'm like this. I'm very, very late to start, but when I'm starting I cannot finish, so the short deadline.
I completely understand. And as you say, I mean, that's also the way of the accountability, and that you have to do it, and that you have the deadline, and everything.
Exactly.
So that's a really, really good way, actually.
Yeah.
So thank you. Colleen.
All right. So I do have to pop off after I answer this. And so I just wanted to thank you for letting me be on here. And it's been so great to be in this book and be able to be on this expert panel. But
can you also add something? Can you add something about you too? Can you add something more about you in this question then? To tell about your project.
Well, yeah, part of the reason I have to pop off is I've got a book that became an international bestseller today. So I gotta check in on that. And then I also this camera is not going well. And I also helped another book do their launch. So that's what I do is I help people take their book or their multi-author book and make it a international bestseller. And I believe so much in this process, and I felt it in your book and my books, of just all the people coming together and the energy. It's this collective energy that's just so palpable. And especially the day these books come out, it's, you know, it's getting spread around the world, but it's getting spread around the world with this just amazing, excitable, brilliant energy. And I just love being a part of that.
And we're so happy to have you in it. You are our Tinkerbell, our magic godmother, or whatever we named you. So thank you. And I'm just so happy. Congratulations for today, for your launch today. And
Thank you.
and thank you that you actually took the time to be here. I know how busy you are. So
Well, I really wanted to do this because this book meant a lot to me. So thank you. Yeah. All right. Pop
I'm
off
so
now.
happy. Okay. Mwah. Bye, Colleen. And that's one of the things I love too, because this helps entrepreneurs be out there. It helps with marketing. It helps with the visibility, and we can be whatever and wherever we are. I mean, I work online, as Colleen does, as all of you do that. We work online, and we are creating the frameworks for our children and our legacy that we're leaving behind, that we're showing everyone this is how we can do it. We are going on Zoom, and we're having a meeting there and a meeting here, and we are having this joyous, wonderful life that we don't want to escape from. Isn't that magical? So what would you say was your biggest aha or breakthrough moment? We're going to go with Nicolette.
I think just to reiterate, just like the string and remembering, like my power, and like just how the story that's meant to be told right now is like, yes, I want it to touch someone else's heart, but it really did touch mine and reminded me of my own power. And I hope it does that for the reader too.
I love it. Thank you. Katie.
So I would say my biggest aha was just connecting the dots, like how the stream of consciousness has played itself out in my life, and to just reflect back, because I'm usually kind of more forward moving person. So I move really fast forward, and it's nice to look at where I came from and how it really has played out in my life now. So that was the biggest aha.
Lovely. Thank you. And Benjamas.
My biggest aha with writing the chapter was definitely about, as Katie was into, you know, just looking back and see what have I done, you know, these years being an entrepreneur. And yeah, it was very, very important to see that and take the opportunity, because we're always like, you know, especially we visionaries, we live in the future. But to go back, that was a big aha for me. So thank you.
Thank you. And I love that. I think that's a really great way of ending this. I mean, to look back to everything we have done and where we are now, how that has shaped us, and to tell everyone else, like, these were the lessons that I learned and that I am now teaching you. So I'm gonna just ask one more question, and that is, I want you to tell me what your new projects are. I mean, to tell the listeners, where can they find you? What are you going to do? What are you up to? I mean, for example, we have in our loop, we are launching globally. We are doing a super global launch right now. We are in media everywhere. We have several new exciting multi-author books coming up. We have Stormborn, we have Multiverse, we have several Swedish ones. We have Legacy, we have Superwoman, and it's just going bigger and bigger, and it's so exciting. We have the media house, we have the temple, we have the tribe, we have everything around that. And we are so happy to be able to invite you to it. So reach out to us, look in our different social media platforms and channels. And Nikki, what are you going to do?
After working on the back end with several publishing houses or, arms of helping women launch their publishing publishing arm of their existing successful business, I have taken the leap to go out on my own and produce my first multi-author book. Mystics Revealed, Unconventional Success Stories from Extraordinary Leaders. I'm currently accepting applications for contributors for that book. And it's been amazing progression for me. And I definitely feel like I'm just right in the, things have happened where I'm just right where I need to be. And so excited for the launch of this book and kind of taking the reins and taking everything that I've learned on the back end to move forward with being the lead on the producing side.
Yeah, because Nicolette, you have been you have been managing our author community and everything in the back end. We are so happy to have had you doing that. I mean, we love you. And we know that you will create the same magic for your authors in your publishing house. And this is also something I want you to realize. I don't believe in that we are against each other, that we're competing against each other. I don't believe in that anymore. I mean, I believe that women should empower each other. That is how it should be done. And I want to empower each and every one of you to just, live your dream life.
Yeah, I have to say, when I was first considering it, I went to Eleanor and I'm like, okay, well, I have this, I'm thinking about doing this. What do you think? And she said, do it. She was like, no hesitation, go do what you need to do. And just that support was like amazing to know that she's just like, no, you can do it. We can all do it. And you kind of, talk to me about that. We're not competition. This is a free playing field, and there's an abundance of, opportunities. So I so appreciated that.
Yeah. So check out her books. And she's also going to publish several new books. And there's so many stories that needs to be written. Follow your heart in which book you want to be in. And we're just happy to be able to let you in touch with each other. Find these amazing publishers, as for example, Colleen is too. So I'm just so happy about that. Where can they find you, Nicolette? Nikki?
Right now, I'm actually just mostly hanging out on Facebook. That's where I've been spending most of my time talking to my audience. I don't even have like an official, I have my website for my online business management business, but I haven't even created a website for my publishing. It's one of those like acting fast, moving ahead, action before perfectionism. But find me on Facebook, reach out. My links are in the bio. And I would love to answer any questions you have about multi-author books or the publishing industry or any of the things that we've talked about today. Please do reach out and say hello.
I love it. Thank you so much, Nikki. And we appreciate you so much. And I wish you so much success and joy in your business. Mwah. Katie.
So I'm actually I'm in the verge of launching a new program. So my program is called Book Solid with a Waiting List. It's basically for health and wellness entrepreneurs that really want to book out their calendars and also command a waiting list, because that's an entirely different authority energy. So that is my biggest, launch that's coming up. And I'm also helping people invest in the crypto space too as well right now, which has been really exciting for a lot of people because it's new and it's up and coming. It's been coming for a while, but it's really like there's this mass adoption that's taking place. So I've also hooked myself onto that and helping people in that field.
Oh, that's interesting. Really interesting. So yeah, find her. Find Katie. Where did you say where they could find you?
So I'm on Facebook. So I have my main page, which is Katie Edwards Corbin. I also have a big Facebook page that I follow, and then I'm on the beyondinstitute.org.
Okay, super. And you can also find her if you buy the book next Friday on the 28th of May. Then you can read her bio and her chapter. So thank you so much, Katie, for being here.
Thank you.
Benjamas.
Woohoo! Yeah, we are also going global, after the summer. So I had a business queen school, but we are doing other stuff with it. So it's gonna be, I had this 100K club in Sweden, which is established here, but now we're gonna, take it to the global market and start the traffic and everything. So I'm so excited. And you can go to ladylegendmedia.com and take the mini series on how to go from 0 to 10K every month. So I'm so excited, to have this mentor program and to launch it in August, September 2021, the year after the corona.
Yeah.
a lot. Yeah, it happens a lot right now. We are in a very, very exciting time.
We are indeed.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for sharing your story in the book. And I know all of you are busy entrepreneurs. I love you. And I really hope that as many as possible will read your chapters to know what created this, what made you do this, what was your aha moment, what is your why, because this is a part of your why, and that is I hope this will create many more successful leaders in the world, because that is what we desperately need in this time and era. So do you want to say anything before we sign off?
No, just thank you for today, and thank you for doing this. And I love what Nikki and you just said, no competition. And that, because it's the feminine way to help each other, to step into power. So that inspired me. Yeah. And I'm gonna check in. Yeah. Amazing women here.
I will always have your back. Remember that, as my authors, I will always have your back. That's for sure. So I wish you the best of luck, and everyone that's listening, read their stories. Read the book when it's launched next Friday, May the 28th. And if you are going to listen to this later on, you can find us, the books, on Amazon. So just go there and buy the books. So we have several other books that are just amazing, and several new ones coming out. So it's an exciting time right now. And thank you so much for being here, and talk soon, and much love to all of you.
Yes. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.